that, okay, thank you. All of the things that affect you as a caregiver are changes, and they can be a grieving process. If you're a family caregiver and caring for mom or dad, just the change from being the daughter or the son to being all of a sudden your mom and dad, your mom to your mom. When someone starts having difficulty talking or loses the ability to walk, that's a change, and that's a grieving process. So just think about caregiving as and anybody who's a caregiver, all of you guys are really representative of what's good in the world, what works in the world, what's beautiful in the world. Goes through a lot of losses because you care, because you give a damn. And you have to, in this process, take care of yourself. And then the question comes is, how do you do it? How do you nurture yourself? Do you take that time? One of the reasons we do so many breathing exercises in this group, and one of the reasons I kind of let the cat come in and out, is we need to take that time to just breathe, to take a second or two and back up. Also need to know that you guys are worth care too. You guys matter. What you do is important. And you've got to take the time, or you've got to find a way in very short increments to take care of yourself. The breathing stuff that we've done in these groups takes 3 to 5 minutes. And that's important, to have something really little and short. We're going to do one more, and this is a 30-second one. Take a deep breath. And when you let it out, I want you to sigh as loudly as you can. How many people feel better after that? How long did that take? That's also self-care. Self-care is also listen, and it's also care for the elders you're working with. Petting an animal, listening to music, dancing, good food. And it makes your life better too. So if you can find a way to make your life better and the person you're caring for's life better in the same time, that's a win-win. Another piece, and I'm going to get you to unmute for 30 seconds, is creativity. And that doesn't mean you're going to become a professional artist, or you have to. A lot of times that gets in the way. But doing something fun or something silly, painting, drawing, making music, singing. Give me a good song for a sing-along, Yuta.
You Are My Sunshine.
Okay, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Everybody unmute first.
Unmute for a second.
Okay.
Are as many of you who want to unmute. 1, 2, 3. You are my sunshine,
my
only sunshine. You make me happy. Blue skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. That's self-care.
Yay!
Yay!
That's taking care of yourself. It's also taking care of the person you're caring for. And it's really, really important. Bad jokes are really important.
Mm-hmm.
There are 3 words that I would love to have thrown out of all languages. I'm fine should go out the window. It should never be said. Inappropriate should never be said. We should throw that one out the window. Inappropriate humor is sometimes perfectly fine. A lot of times it's perfectly fine. I worked with an elder, and his daughter really, really struggled with the way he was changing. He had been in his lifetime an incredibly articulate man. He was the speechwriter for Jimmy Carter. As he declined, he started swearing a lot. But he had a sense of humor about it, and he loved to sing. So at one point, he was walking down the hall at Sierra Vista, singing swear words to the tune of "You Are My Sunshine," and having a really, really good time with it. And the daughter happened to be visiting, and at first she looked like she was going to cry, and then she starts laughing because she realized that, yeah, her dad was changing, and he was a very different person than the man she grew up with. But he was also a different person who was having a really good time. And I think that can be important. The saddest thing I ever saw, and it goes into the last subject before Dana's going to time me, is burnout. And the reason this story goes into burnout is we were working, and it was honestly one of the saddest things I've ever seen, is we were working with this family who was very, very devoted to their dad. Their dad had been this incredibly patriarchal, bossy, controlling, perfectionist man all their lives. And his wife and 5 kids were trying really, really hard to care for him the way he was before he had dementia. So they were keeping the beautiful pottery in the house, and you could eat off the floor, and he was dressed in a certain way and got up and took his meds in a certain time. What happened is the man with dementia changed. He didn't care about the pottery. He would have been perfectly happy if his wife would have put Pizza Hut on speed dial, bought a dog, and hired a housekeeper and hung out and turned on Elvis and hung out with him. He would have been much happier. She'd have had a much better life. She'd have been much less stressed. They were so deeply into denial and into not accepting the process he was going through that they were all getting exhausted, and they were missing the companionship of this guy who was right in front of them, who was honestly a lot nicer man and a lot more interesting than the guy they were trying to hold on to. And it was the saddest thing I'd ever seen. And the other piece to that is because they were fighting so hard to deny this disease, they were all exhausted. They were burned out of their minds because they were holding on to something they couldn't control. How many of you guys, and we can raise hands, know the words to the Serenity Prayer? Anybody? God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. The serenity to know the serenity to
The courage to change the things I
can, and the wisdom to
know the difference.
Very, very important for caregivers. You cannot stop dementia. It's a one-way ticket. It's a one-way train. But there are things that by being courageous and creative and honest that you can change, you can make life really, really good for both of you. But the word both is really, really important here. You cannot, do you remember last week when we did the only cure is respite for the caregiver? This is important. Caregiver, our word for the day is Caregivers matter. You matter too. You've got to be safe. You've got to be healthy. You've got to sleep. You've got to eat right. You've got to pray. You've got to breathe. You've got to do something creative, even if it's singing "You Are My Sunshine" off key at the top of your lungs, or, you know, making really bad jokes. And it's okay to be exhausted. It's okay to say, no, I can't do this. I need time. The other piece is, and I think caregivers have a hard time with this, is it's also okay to reach out for help. It's okay to say, I need to talk to somebody about this. Dana's given me the time signal. So we're gonna split up into 3 breakout groups. The stuff that we've been talking about, I want you guys to discuss in the groups. And then we're going to come back together in 15 minutes and share what we discussed. So, Dana, how do we go about setting up breakout groups?
I have assigned everyone a breakout group. When I hit open rooms, it's going to pop up on your screen that you have been assigned to, and whatever room number you've been assigned to, you need to follow the prompts. I think it says join room. You'll click on the room. If you called in on a phone, like you called in, you dialed in, it's going to automatically move you. So don't worry about that. But for those of you on computers or tablets, or I believe smartphones, if you're using the Zoom app, it is going to tell you you've been assigned to this room number. Please join this room. And then it's going to move you into your room.
And that includes the breakout leaders, right?
Yes, I assigned, there's a breakout leader in every group. And then just to note that when we're in breakout rooms, when they end, I'm gonna give everyone a time check in each group. I'm gonna bounce between the groups to give people time warnings. But when it is time to go, the same message is gonna pop up on your screen, and it's gonna tell you that you're being moved back to the main room. So you know that you have to follow the reverse. You're gonna join a room and then you're gonna leave a room at the end. Okay, everyone, I am opening the rooms now and you should be getting the notice on your screens.
Hey, Dana. Are the 3 of us unassigned? Oh yeah, Tierney's leaving, right?
I added her to a group, so I wanted
Okay.
to. I put her in a room. I don't know why.
No, that's okay. She said in the chat she had to leave.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So good. So you did it.
Perfect. Okay.
Hey. Okay. Okay. I'm
And
gonna put
then
myself on mute for a few minutes and I'll just watch for when you bring everybody back.
okay.
Okay, thanks. Hi, Shane. Hi, Aiden.
Hi.
Hi, Janelle. Shane, you made it in. How did it
Yeah, I was
finally
over a
work?
spotty area. Yeah, I had to come get my client. I got a call, so I
Oh,
come and drop everything, and what can you do? 24/7 job.
I do
Sorry about that,
know.
but I'm here now. I'm parked, so
Okay.
I'm
So
here.
they're in breakout rooms right now, but since I
Okay.
saw you and I saw Aiden, if you're able to take yourself off mute, Aiden and Janelle, I can, basically, they're just kind of talking about the role, your own personal experiences as a caregiver, your feelings, your grief, just whatever it is. It's just sort of a free form discussion. And then one of you goes back in about 10 minutes. We still have 10 minutes to talk about it. And then they're going to bring everybody back into the room, main room. And you're going to kind of share what you talked about in this group. So if you guys are willing, I'll just kind of monitor your conversation. Oh no, where did she go? So she disappeared. She's in a spotty area too, Shane. Oh, and I lost you. Oh, good grief. Hi, Kayla.
What do you do to take care of yourself?
Hi, Kayla. There should be something that showed up on your computer that is going to take you to a breakout room, room number 3. If you can hear me. Great. Hi.
Hey,
Hey, how are you?
we're good.
Good. Were you in a breakout room?
Yeah, we all just said
Okay.
bye. We were all coming back.
Oh, good. Very good. Excellent. Was it fun?
It was fun, very informative. We talked about a lot of things.
Good.
About to relax ourselves.
Good.
It kind of gave us ideas about, like, personalities. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, good.
There's Nikki. Yeah, they're coming in.
Good.
We didn't get a clear notice.
I
We
thought
made
Tina came.
No one went up in a puff of smoke.
Hey, welcome back.
Hi, guys. We'll let everybody get back in one piece. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna let the folks from each group speak. Should we just do 1, 2, and 3 for the groups that way?
Sure, we could do that.
Okay.
Ruth, just a second, honey. Dana, can you enter back into room 2 and let everybody else know that they need to leave and then choose?
They're automatically coming back. They
Oh,
just,
they are?
everything
Okay.
closed. Everything closed just this second.
Antoinette's back.
Oh, shoot.
Tell me
Sorry.
when everybody's back in the house.
I do believe everybody's back.
Yeah, everybody's
I'll
back.
grab a moment to say hello to Linda. It's nice to see a
Hey,
face
you too.
after the talk we had.
Yeah, you too. And you too, Valerie. Hello.
Yeah, we made Linda show her face.
Well, I figured I better, right? I didn't make myself presentable, so I apologize.
That's okay. I think Zoom has made me think more about my hair than I ever have in my life.
Oh, I know. Totally true.
Okay, now that everybody's back, we're gonna go 1, 2, 3 on the groups and have 1 or 2 people from each group. And some folks probably bravely volunteered. I kind of drafted folks from my group. So we'll start out with group 1. So Drusilla and Cassandra are gonna share their experience and some of the stuff we talked about.
Okay. Hello, my name is Drusilla Lalio. I'm from Zuni, New Mexico. And I've been caring for my sister for like almost going out to like 23 years now.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I used to take care of my mom too, and for like 6 years until she passed on 2014. That's when I lost my mom. She died, and now it's my sister alone that I'm taking care of her. But I'm doing okay, and she's a handicap. She's 66 years old now, but I have not gone through like seen any dementia or anything upon her yet. But I'm taking these sessions and I'm learning a lot what to expect. So I'm very grateful for these presentations. So I guess that's all I can say, but I'm very happy that my sister still is here with me.
Good.
Great, Drusilla.
And then
Thank you.
Cassandra, you had a couple real creative ways of caring for yourself too.
Hello, everyone. I'm Cassandra, and I've had experience with caregiving before. My mother, I've been caring for her for the last 13 years. She's in the late stages right now with her dementia. I was there since the beginning, and I also have a background with being a certified nursing assistant. Most of my family has a medical background, so a lot of the things that have come up, such as her seizures, the frequency in it, even medication changes and stuff, we're familiar with this process. So it's helped throughout the years. There's been many times there's been big scares that happen, but I guess because of the experience we've had, a lot of it was just mostly just automatic mode, get things done that needed to be done medical wise and not freak out. That's the
Mhm.
last thing that you go to. You know, you release those tears at the end of it and just get what you need to get done first. Ways that I dealt with how I care for my mother. I explained to my group that throughout this whole time, I actually work with other groups of people throughout the world, mostly in China, Korea, and Japan. I do teach English online, and in turn, I also learned their language as well, reading and writing and some of the songs. And I was familiar with most of the language beforehand, but I've brought a lot of that music back with me. So whenever we listen to music, at least 95 to 98% of the time, none of it is in English. My parents, including my mother, love listening to this music. And because of that, my mother has become a big BTS fan. So she loves BTS. And they are also learning the language too, because there are some similarities in the sounds. So even if she doesn't completely understand what is being said, she has the notion, you know, the feeling of what it could mean. And sometimes she does repeat it back to me. So she enjoys it, even though none of it is in English. Then again, she also, because of her disease, has reverted back to her mother tongue, which is Navajo. So she is also not speaking English anyway. But through the whole conversion of dealing with the stress that comes along with this and trying not to get burned out, we adapted with it. We went ahead and made some changes to our environment. We also started trying different foods. Most of the food we eat is not American, so it's helped her diet. It benefited her. And it also gave us time to be more creative and get our hands on stuff rather than just buying fast food, American fast food. In fact, we hardly eat beef because of that.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of this it's a good thing, you know, even though something horrible happened, my mom not being there, not being who she was, the teacher she used to be. Now it's us that are changing with her and teaching her and becoming her teacher. So, you know, we're okay. We're all there for one another. And when one gets stressed out, another person steps in and helps alleviate that stress.
Cool. Okay, group 2.
That would have been my group. We had some discussion. Nikki told us a lot about the things that she's done to relieve her stress. She's dealing with grief of having been recently retired and all that goes with that, and finding new ways to, you know, get herself involved. We had a long discussion with Antoinette Sandoval, who's taking care of a good friend of hers with cancer. She had some interesting things that she was trying to deal with on that. Antoinette, would you mind talking a little bit about what you did, what you said?
Well, I was just saying, you know, it's hard, really hard for me because this is my friend from the 3rd grade, and she's angry, she's mad, but I don't know how to help her. And I keep suggesting, you know I don't know your pain, I tell her, but maybe if you talk to a support group or, you know, and we talked, Nikki really gave me some ideas of how to deal with that, because it's stressful. I hate seeing her in pain. I don't know how to help her. But Nikki did give me some good ideas.
Yeah, so that was a lot of what our discussion was about. So
Very, very good. Awesome, guys. And group 3.
I think we were group 3. But we'll go
we were
next.
group 3.
I can't remember. We had a really good discussion, and everybody kind of had more like physical, so like exercising, walking, some type of physical, which was great because it's a good way. And then we had a couple of artists in our group, which they put all of their feelings and things they couldn't say verbally into art, which was pretty awesome to hear. And just expressing the hardships of being a family caregiver, where if you're a direct care worker, you have that time, but if you're a family, it's a 24-hour job. You know, you had to still keep going. You can't really punch out for that time. So it's a lot of work, and just kind of hearing everybody kind of express that was really good. It seemed like, oh, music was actually a really good therapy tool as well, and dancing. So that was good to let out some of that, you know, the stress and maybe even the sadness. So we had a really good group.
Very cool. Very good. Okay, guys, we're kind of hitting the end of the line here. So I do need to turn this over to Adrian really, really fast. And you can use the chat box, or if somebody has something they absolutely want to say. 1 or 2 words for where you're at right now. And I'll just take volunteers. Anybody volunteering?
For what again?
1 or 2 words for how you feel right now.
Oh,
this very second.
So proud.
Yay. Awesome.
Grateful.
Awesome.
I'm grateful.
Good. Happy. Good. I think you guys rock. Thank you. Okay, Adrian, we're gonna give you the floor.
Thank you. Thank you, Ruth, and thank you everybody for coming. I'm going to encourage you to stay on. I think Ruth and Dana will stay on as long as you want and as long as you have questions. I just wanted to give you a few little wrap up summary statements. You will get a certificate of completion for this, so use it if you work with an agency or you need to show it even as a family caregiver toward your annual requirements, which I know that all the companies are going back to and the state is going back to. We have recorded this, so Dana will be sending you the recording, and we'll also be, if you happen to know of other people who were supposed to be here and weren't, they can watch that recording. And typically what Dana does is she'll send out a few little questions along with that, just to be sure that, you know, we know that you saw the recording. And all that we'll get to, and I'll ask Dana to talk about this. If you haven't learned from the person that you're working with, the Valerie Sosi, the Nikki Sebastian, the Bridget Cobb on this call, you probably already know if you're a family caregiver, you can fill out a pre-survey, go through a program like this one, and then fill out a post-survey, and you can get $25 for doing each one, because that helps us get data up to U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Dana, would you mind clarifying what I said about the pre and the post surveys, in case parts of that are wrong?
So those of you that were missing pre-surveys would have gotten a specific email. So those of you that already completed it would have just been sent the Zoom link. But if you did not complete the pre-survey yet, the email that you got with today's reminder included the links to the pre-survey. After on Monday, I will be sending out a follow-up email like I had been doing after every of one of these sessions. And for those of you that are missing a post survey, you will get the post survey. If the email that you receive does not include that information, that means you have already done it and you don't have to worry about it.
Okay. All right.
And
thank you.
And just to let you know, family caregivers can get that stipend, but your care recipient can also get that stipend, even if they live in the same house, the same household. So, you know, don't forget, a family caregiver can earn 25 for the pre, 25 for the post. Your care recipient can also earn 25 for the pre, 25 for the post. And call us if you have any questions at all. I hope that as many of you who want to can remain on here on this meeting, but for any people who do have to leave, we do thank you very much for coming.
Thank
Ruth,
you. That was a nice
take-
presentation.
Good. And Ruth, take the floor back.
And
Thank you.
And guys, thank
One
you
more thing
all.
though is all my caregivers, you know, you're gonna be, I'll be sending your survey to you. So just look out for those so you can get paid.
And guys, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you very, very much. Does anybody have any questions, any just curiosity or anything you need to know or want to talk about?
Well, I like your hair, Ruth. It looks really nice. I noticed that when I first got on here. Yes, it does.
And it honestly is gray, not blonde.
Oh, you were a hot blondie.
And guys, thank you. You guys are an amazing group. Thank you for what you're doing. You know, thank you for the caregiving you're doing and for like reaching out and trying to learn and learning. It's awesome. And Yuda and Valerie, thank you for helping lead groups and joining us. And any questions? Any kind of basic Alzheimer's self-care questions?
I have a couple of comments. We talked very briefly about actually it was Antoinette's situation where she's been trying to get her friend into support groups. I wish that we had better guides for how to run support groups. Unfortunately, for me, a lot of them have been so negative and basically gripe sessions rather than support.
One of the things I would try, honestly, and when I was going through cancer, I was pissed too and didn't want to go to a support group. So I can kind of relate to what your friend was going through. But one of a good resource and out there is the Tierra Nueva Counseling Center, because people can do art and music therapy over Zoom and online. And sometimes art or music, and it's sliding scale to free. So you can just join in and you know, the other, and and this may be a good, depending on where Antoinette is living, but Nicolette's group out in Farmington, because they are so focused on creativity and support, could be a really good resource. But I would look into art and music as another alternate.
Okay, we both live in Albuquerque, and I just talked to her. There's a new group starting for journaling, I guess, with cancer.
Would you
So-
please come?
That may be a good one. UNM Cancer Center too.
That's where I got it from. Yeah.
Good. Also Stress Busters. Two of the nurses that run that program for family caregivers are former cancer care nurses.
Okay.
God bless them for doing that work for 30 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I believe Kayla Pena has a question.
Yes,
In
Kayla.
fact, she's having trouble connecting, so I'll read it. What would it mean if my mother keeps asking the same questions, even if I've told her the info she asked about?
Basically, it's when someone with Alzheimer's repeats, it is because the memory that she asked it never formed at all. It was never there. So she, from her mom's point of view, she's not repeating the question. She's just never asked it before. I think there's no real way to redirect. Change the subject, do something fun.
Yeah.
Make a drawing, watch a movie, have something good to eat, and just keep shifting gears. But she's never going to remember that she asked that question before.
Right. And also very quickly, Kayla, validate first.
Mhm.
So whatever the question is, she needs to know that you actually heard her, and then get her involved in something else that she really enjoys.
It's like, oh yes, I'll make supper in 5 minutes. Thanks for reminding me, Mom.
Right.
Now can we go put the clothes away? And I think
I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Who is this?
Yes, Kayla. Yes, Kayla, we can hear
Kayla.
you.
Okay, I
hear
think
you.
it's my phone. Hold on.
Okay, that was clear.
Okay, I heard it's my phone. Hold on. Okay. I don't think she's got Alzheimer's. It's just that. Okay. I don't think she's got Alzheimer's. It's just that she usually asks questions that I've already answered. So
That I hate to break it to you, but
usually asks questions that I've already answered. So
that is probably, I'm not Dr. Ruth, but that's probably some form of dementia.
I agree.
That's one of those, I would get a good physical, get her checked out, because that's dementia 101 territory. So
One more comment, and again, Antoinette, you made me think of this. It's very hard to hold off and not give people advice when they're in a bad place. But in my experience, more often than not, they don't need advice. They just need you to be there and just be there and listen, or whatever, hug them, stroke them, whatever. Just be so lend yourself to whatever your friend needs.
That's just it. I mean, like, we could sit there not say nothing to each other, but at least work together, Yeah.
Good.
And that's 90% of what you got to do anyway.
Right.
Right.
I think sometimes just holding somebody in love in your heart is enough.
Right.
Good point. Oh, yay, good.
Okay, you saw that in the chat.
I saw that in the chat. That's good. Because in a diagnosis with Alzheimer's, and Yuta, you can bounce off with me on this one. I think sometimes it's more helpful for the caregiver than the person.
Oh, I totally agree. Because it really does, it doesn't matter to the person.
Yeah. But
they are who they are. Yeah.
For the caregiver, it gives it a name. It's like, okay, this is what I have to wrap myself around.
Right.
I'm going to plug a book. Yuta wrote a book called Alzheimer's A to Z. Really good, neat book on some real straightforward how to deal with things.
Basics.
And I think that's important. Another thing, for Kayla and for a lot of you guys, sometimes the only answer and repetitive questions are one of these. The best answer is respite for the caregiver. Take a break. Because you're not going to make it stop. So, anything else, guys, before we wrap up? You guys are an amazing group. Should we do something really dorky to close?
You want a rerun of You Are My Sunshine?
I was actually going to suggest, oh Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes Benz?
That's a hard one.
Um,
I love it.
There's a Janis Joplin song. It goes, and we'll unmute just so we can get a laugh before we go. And I want you to clap. Oh Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes Benz? My friends all drive horses, I must make amends. Oh Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes Benz? Have a good weekend, guys. You guys are
You
awesome.
too. Thank you.
Take
Thank
care.
you,
miss you.
Ruth.
Be
Thank
safe,
you.
everybody.
Everyone, have a
Bye.
safe weekend.